The legendary Mr. Skin.
Mr. Skin. Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts Mr. Skin, Jimmy Fela, and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mr. Skin Podcast. I'm Andrea Lowell, and of course, joined by the one and only Mr. Skin. How are you, bud?
Hey, Andrea, but unfortunately not Jimmy Fela this weekend, which is a bummer. I know. You know, it's funny. It seems like he hasn't been on the show for so long, but it's not quite that way because he actually had to do television today for the Kennedy show on Fox, and he was very apologetic over the weekend when he found out he had to record. But
yeah.
It's kind of funny because you and I did the Vegas thing, which was 2 episodes. So I was all excited to talk to Jimmy today, and it's just not going to happen.
You know?
Yeah, I know. You and I had a good plan to make him feel bad for not being in Vegas for the AVN show.
You know, we'll save it for next week, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, I know, but
no, we did have
we
had such an incredible time. And do you have any like standout, absolute favorite thing that happened that entire weekend at AVN Skin?
You know, I think for me, it's just to see the excitement on the guys walking around that show.
Yeah.
Like they really, it looks like they're meeting Angelina Jolie, but they're meeting like a porn star, and it's a cool dynamic. And with their little cameras and their their pens and paper and whatever they bring, it's kind of fun to see how excited those guys are. They're grown men that act like little kids.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about that yesterday. These porn stars make these guys so happy. Like seeing them in person, like not only made their day, their week, made their year, you know? So it's just really sweet, and it's really cute.
Well, yeah. And it's not even like the porn stars, like the My Free Cams girls, was My Free Cams was all over the show. They were the biggest advertiser and just had a great presence there.
Yeah, they did.
So these cam girls have really built up these great followings, guys from all over the world. And it was incredible how many of their fans came to see the cam girls. And, you know, we're talking porn stars, but the cam girls have these incredible followings also. And we pointed out that if you're a real successful cam girl, you could make, over $200,000, in some cases up to $500,000 a year if you're good at it.
That's bananas.
And how about it? You never leave your house and you're making $500,000. Not too bad.
But yeah, these guys, because they're watching these cam girls live and they're interacting, it's way different than just watching a porn clip, because you feel like you know the person, and you actually do know the person. So it's kind of like meeting your pen pal in a way. So yeah, it's mind blowing, and it's amazing to see that in person. And it was, really sweet and really touching. But yeah, overall, we had an incredible show. We had incredible interviews. I feel like we learned so much, and we got to dig so much deeper. We scratched way beyond the surface with these porn stars, you know. Even Joanna Angel, after we interviewed her, was like, oh my gosh, you guys actually talked to me about stuff that wasn't just like, so what do you do? What do you win?
Yeah, well,
we dug deep.
You have you and I interviewing porn stars, and they're like, wait, how do you know that? How do you know that? That's because what we do.
It's like, we care, damn it. We care.
Yeah. No, they appreciate it because they said a lot of times they'll get the exact same questions, and most of the time they're interviewed, the people don't even know anything about them as performers,
right?
or you know, that they've been in AVN or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. They were impressed with our knowledge. Our perversion paid off that time. So
our passion for perversion. Yeah. So it was wild. It was fun. And I honestly felt like I learned a lot. As like weird as this sounds, I feel like it was really deep. Like everyone we talked to was talking about how, you know, kind of their life's purpose and their passion and their fortitude and all, like these things you wouldn't expect to come out of porn stars' mouths, but it was like a universal truth. And it really reminded me of you and your story. You find something you love to do, you take your passion, you turn it into, you know, a career, and you're ultimately really happy.
Oh yeah. Well, the other thing too that I noticed is that when they sit down, when the porn stars or people in the industry sit down and you interview them, you realize that they're just real people. They're normal, real people. They're just in porn, which to me makes it even hotter.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was another thing too. You kind of get, you're sitting there talking to them like, God, I'd have a drink with them, or they're nice people, guys or girls. I thought that was another thing that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very skin lightening. Yeah.
Super skin lightening. And also these girls were smart. Like Jessica Drake,
Oh my God. Well, yeah.
I could talk to her. I wanted to like lick her brain. You know what I mean? I was just eating her up. But yeah, super smoking, wearing nothing but a body stocking. So it just goes to prove stereotypes are not always accurate. She was wearing nothing but large fishnet, super smoking, perfect 10, yet super cerebral and really kind. So,
right. And if she wasn't a porn star, you'd think she was a model.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You think she was a supermodel when she walked in the room. She's that gorgeous.
Yeah.
That gorgeous.
Ooh,
and I don't think Angelina Jolie would sit and talk to us for 20 minutes, do you?
No.
That's another reason I like these girls. So.
Yeah, they're much more open and much more cool. And even the guys too. When you think like male adult star, at least me, except for the ones I know, like the Ron Jeremys of the world, you kind of think, oh, this guy must think he's like the shit or has like a super big ego because he's fucking all these chicks all the time and getting paid for it. But what I learned was these guys are normal guys too, and they're not super conceited. So I really thought it was super enlightening.
I agree. Not counting Ron Jeremy, who's in another world, but the male porn stars. The male porn stars I met were just super nice guys too. Like I said, guys you just want to have a drink with. So it was good. It was like I said, a skin lightening experience for me, and it was a lot of fun. But now we have
to reality.
Get back to the grind
of
all the new stuff in theaters and television. And before I start on that, I know the answer to this question, but did you watch the Super Bowl last night?
Hail to the no.
Yeah. This
you
is one of the reasons I was kind of hoping Jimmy would be here today so we could talk a little football, but I'm on my own here. But just so you know, it was one of the most incredible, probably the most incredible football game ever. And on that stage, the Super Bowl made it just enormous. But I was at a party having some drinks. I think Atlanta was up, I want to say 28-3.
Okay.
And it's like in football, you don't come back and win a game when you're down 28-3, and especially on for a Super Bowl. And next thing you know, New England and Tom Brady wins this game.
Wow.
And it just everyone was just freaked out by it. But of course, you didn't watch it. You don't know what we're talking about. But there is something that I think you would get a kick out of. There was a nip slip last night that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
Yeah, in this supermodel Chrissy Teigen is married to John Legend.
Oh, yes.
And they were periodically seeing the celebs, Mark Wahlberg and different people in the stadium, and they focused on her. And it's funny, if you look closely, she's wearing a fishnet top with no bra.
Ooh.
And if you zoom in on that, you get a nice right nip slip from Chrissy Teigen, which is kind of cool, like at the Super Bowl. And we know the history of Nipplegate with the Super Bowl. But it was, to me, for what I do for a living, that was a really cool thing that happened during the Super Bowl.
So, of course, just like you suggested, I zoomed in. I'm looking at everything. It's amazing. But what I just found ridiculously hilarious is right in front of her, there's a guy with binoculars. If only he would have just turned around and looked the other way, he would have had the best view in the stadium.
Yeah. Well, as you know, with so you can definitely see, and we did a thing on our website where you zero in because it's only her right breast.
Oh,
and
it's amazing.
As you know, Andrea, I'm a big proponent of women's rights, and this right breast shot was awesome. And it's just because it was on Fox, because it was the Super Bowl, the whole thing. But speaking of nipple, I should mention in honor of this, so on February 1st of 2004, as I like to say, a day that'll live in skinfamy, that was the Super Bowl where the famous Janet Jackson Nipplegate with Justin Timberlake. And I got to tell you that. Yeah, well, that's actually one of the biggest days of my website, because I don't know if I ever told you the story, but so when that happened, when Janet Jackson flashed Nip at the Super Bowl, it totally took everyone by surprise. Justin Timberlake ripped open her
whatever that top is.
Yeah. And then her nips out and she had this silver thing around it and it just freaked everyone out. And obviously there were a lot of ramifications down the road with what happened on television and network television, all this other stuff. But at the time it was crazy, right? So I was, like everyone else, was shocked with watching it. But then there was something inside me. Now, you got to remember, this was before, so this was February 1st of 2004. So it's before YouTube, before Facebook.
Right.
And I had been doing about 4 or 5 years of heavy radio as this guy, Mr. Skin, the expert on celebrity nudity. So I had established, like, hey, if something in celebrity nudity happens, there was a website to go to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, after the game, I had a feeling like this is going to be pretty big. I had no idea how big, but I thought it was going to be big. So I went online and I found a photographer had taken a high-res picture. Like he was in the crowd, like standing around. You know how they have those people that go up to the stage when they do these Super Bowl performances?
Right.
So this guy in February 1st of 2004 took like incredible high-res pic of the nip, like incredible. You could see Janet Jackson, you could see Justin Timberlake, but clearly see the nip. So I found this pic at like,
oh my gosh,
11 at night or 11:30 at night, and I'm thinking, okay, I didn't even wait for our guys at the office to come in and grab the recording and put the pics on, because the TV the TV version would not have been as high res or as nice as this picture.
Right.
So I find this picture, I put it up on Janet Jackson's page, and immediately we put a promotion on the front page of our website. Check out, the greatest nip slip of all time, or whatever we did. February 2nd of 2004, the day after the Super Bowl, was the biggest day in the history of MrSkin.com for signups, and that's even on my biggest Howard Stern day.
Wow.
Which, just so you know, like, number 1 is Janet Jackson, day after, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is Howard Stern, different Howard Stern appearances. But this nip slip, Janet Jackson or Nipplegate, the day after was our biggest day ever.
That
and
is
it's all
crazy.
it's all because I had this idea to go put this picture on and then, get on it right away. And again, there weren't places to go then where, you'd see it in your Facebook feed or see it at YouTube. And it was just an amazing day. I can't remember the amount of signups, but it was like,
something gargantuan.
We got over 1,200 people. I don't know the exact amount, but it was over 1,200 people that joined our website in one day as subscribers. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
No,
it's
and I'm looking. I'm at MrSkinPodcast.com, and we have links to everything to direct you right to the page you need to go. And you can see the TV version, and yeah, it's not great resolution. And then you go to this image you have. I can see the hole where the milk comes out, Skin.
Yeah,
it's bananas.
And you got to understand, back then too, there weren't a lot of high def pics, and especially caps from television. So what was out on the internet was all these crappy things. But I went to the photographer, to the source, put this picture up, and boom, it was. The rest is skinstery. It was awesome. So So Chrissy Teigen had the nip slip last night, but nips and Super Bowl are big in my world and in my life.
Well,
so,
that's something I can root for.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't really talk too much football with you, so we're gonna move on. But cool. Yeah, it was a cool night if you're a sports fan, and it was just a great night for sports. But anyway, so. I'm sorry, do I have a question here? Is there...
Oh, yeah. I want to remind everyone, go ahead and tweet at Mr. Skin on Twitter if you have questions. You can do that all day, every day, but also sometimes we do go live. So tweet at Mr. Skin, and hopefully he can answer your questions live, or we can use them for a future episode.
Yeah, we're starting to get some. I don't have my reading glasses on, so it's hard to read. But we're starting to get some questions. So, I know. So Serena here will let me know if we have a question.
Cool.
But yeah, it's we should have some good Twitter questions as the show's going on. But anyway,
excellent.
So I wanted to get into that was Super Bowl stuff, but there's a lot of cool stuff at some film fests that I wanted to mention. One is, Andrea, that I always send Skin Scouts to these film festivals. And, we go to, I have guys at Sundance, I have guys at Toronto, different South by Southwest, whatever they are, where there's movies. I have guys that see movies way before they hit theaters. And that's one of the fun things about the film fest. We kind of get an early look at the upcoming celebrity nudity. And it's really funny. The two movies that stood out at the Sundance Film Festival, which was a couple of weeks ago, were both movies. This is really weird. Both movies are about nuns.
What?
Like nuns. Yes.
Is that like
weird.
the new hot trend, like nun movies?
Well, let me tell you, there's one movie that these guys saw called The Little Hours.
Okay.
And it's about a convent full of unstable nuns. Okay.
I love it already.
But look at this. It's a nunsploitation movie type thing. That was big in the 70s, but these are the latest. But we have in this movie, The Little Hours, Kate McCucci, who I've talked to before. She's in that singing group Garfunkel and Oates. She has full frontal nudity and lesbo in The Little Hours. Jemima Kirk, who is Simon Kirk's daughter, and also, of course, Lena Dunham's co-star in Girls, goes full frontal. And Aubrey Plaza, who has a big following. I know a lot of guys remember her as April from Parks and Rec. She has a topless scene and lesbo, and they're all in this nun movie in this convent, and it's pretty cool. So The Little Hours got great reviews from my guys at Sundance as far as a movie to look for in 2017. So I'll keep you posted when that's going to come out, but I have confirmation that all those girls are naked. And then
like totally naked?
Kate McCucci and Jemima Kirk are full frontal.
Nice.
Yeah, and Aubrey Plaza is breast with lesbo. So that's a movie we're going to be watching, Mr. Skin. And then, and another movie is called Noviate, which is another movie about a nun. And Andy McDowell has a daughter named Margot Qualley, who a lot of people, if you know the show The Leftovers on HBO, you're probably familiar with her, but she's really beautiful. In this movie, my Skin Scouts confirm full frontal nudity, nude debut, and lesbo scene from Andy McDowell's daughter, Margot Qualley. So, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good year, 2017. So, we're all over it. And when these movies actually hit theaters, we'll keep you posted.
No, this is fantastic. And you have another celebrity offspring that's done nudity to add to your list.
Yes.
I love this. Yes.
Yeah, it's always fun, especially when I do my Mother's Day. Mothers and daughters that have both been naked will have to add Margaret Qualley when this movie comes out because, of course, her mom, Andy McDowell, actually did a brief nude scene in a movie called Ruby Cairo.
Okay.
It's a tad dark, but hey, it's Andy McDowell, and it's pretty cool to see. So we're all over that. But hey, one other thing coming up this week, which we're really excited about, is 50 Shades Darker. The 50 Shades movie.
Oh, yes.
The sequel is out this weekend, and that's the movie with Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan. And from everything I'm hearing, now my guys will see it, I think, Wednesday or Thursday night this week before it hits theaters. It's supposed to have even better sex and nudity than the original 50 Shades, which is saying something. They said it's more graphic, more crazy, and anyway, so I'll have confirmation Wednesday or Thursday before it hits theaters on Friday, but we're definitely looking forward to that, and that's going to be a movie that will definitely be in contention for Breast Picture this year, no question about it.
Very cool. I so wish I was into bondage because.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're not.
It's
the one thing you're not.
I know,
which is crazy.
And I'm very trisexual. I'll try anything 5 times to make sure I don't like it, and maybe it's who I'm with. I don't trust that they'll not hurt me or hurt me too. I don't know. I wish I could watch it and be like, oh, that's so hot. But it doesn't do anything for me. Now, don't get me wrong. I still will watch 50 Shades Darker. Not in the theater. I'll wait till it's free at home. But I'll definitally check it out. But thank God for your website so I don't have to sit through the movie.
Well, let me tell you, no one's complaining about, if there's one thing that's off the table with you, no one's complaining because you have so many other things on on the table. No one's worried about it.
Everything but shackles, okay?
Yeah. So, yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, 50 Shades Darker, like I said, from what I'm hearing, way more than 50 Shades, close to porn. That's the buzz.
That's
Lots
crazy.
more S&M.
I love it.
So, yeah, so we're anxiously awaiting that coming out Friday. And of course, I'll keep you posted on that. But anyway, there's also a bunch of, we haven't done a live show in a while, so I'm a little backed up, if you will, but there's some cool movie stuff I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure.
And I've mentioned to you before, one of my favorite actresses is Jennifer Connelly.
You and me both, babe. You and me both.
Yeah, you know her, and she's 46, which it's weird because I remember in 1990 when she did the Hot Spot, and I still consider that a top 10 nude scene of all time, and the best breasts
in the world.
I can't decide between Alexandra Daddario in True Detective or Jennifer Connelly skinny dipping in the Hot Spot what my favorite breasts are, because they're both like equally stupendous.
Well, it's like if we isolate the breast, we got to go Alexandra. But if we're doing total package, Jennifer Connelly to me is like a 10 head to toe.
Yeah,
you know
and that's a contest. That's a contest where everyone wins. So there's no complaining either way. Whichever way you go, right. No one's going to be disappointed. But so Jennifer Connelly has a movie called American Pastoral, and it hit theaters in late October, and it's now available on Amazon on demand. And Ewan McGregor and Jennifer Connelly play this all-American couple in the 1960s. She was a former beauty pageant performer, and then he was like a star athlete, and they have very wealthy. They're doing very well, but they have this daughter played by Dakota Fanning who gets in. She's like a violent 60s activist, and it just upends their whole family, right? And anyway, so they're having a tough time dealing with all the craziness. At one point, Jennifer Connelly has like this breakdown. She goes up, and I'm not clear yet if it was Ewan McGregor's office or where it was, but she's in like an office warehouse, and she goes and gets her old pageant sash, puts it on her naked body, and is just walking around the this office warehouse. And Ewan McGregor runs up. He's like looking for her, and he sees her. And so the sash is just kind of sort of covering things. You see some bush, you see some boob, see some butt, but it's just Jennifer Connelly in just a beauty pageant sash walking around naked. It's fantastic.
She is just a dime piece. And I had no idea.
You could see the picture, right?
Oh,
you can see the picture
of
of
course.
that. Yeah.
And
okay,
I love how she has never been afraid in any of her work to be like, here's my bush. Sideways, forwards, whatever. I don't need a merkin. I can grow it out.
Or a double dildo. Though they did use a body. They did body double the ass to ass double dildo in Requiem for a Dream. But yeah, she's done some very daring stuff.
She's fearless. She's beautiful.
Stuff, yeah.
She's talented. She's got a body that won't quit, and she's one of the best actresses. She may be my all-time favorite. The more I think about it, the more I'm really sold on her.
Yeah, and she's an Academy Award actress.
Is she in a relationship?
She's married to what's that guy's name? I can't remember. I can never remember the guy's names. But
what is he in?
Yeah, she's been married. He's like a British actor, I want to say.
Let me Google this.
Yeah, Google that.
You can keep going. I'll get back to you.
No, yeah, he's a very lucky guy, if you will. But yeah, anyway, so
Paul Bettany? Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany. Okay. Right. Good call. And and they've been married for quite some time now. So he's a lucky guy.
Lucky
anyway,
guy.
She looks great in this. It's called is it Bellamy or Bettany? Is it
I saw
Bellamy or Bettany?
Bettany, but I wasn't. I already closed the window.
I think it's Bettany, but whatever. Anyway. Yeah, Bettany. So anyway, the movie's called American Pastoral. That's new on Amazon On Demand. So that's been big at MrSkin.com recently.
Excellent.
Another one, I don't know if you know this show, but I got to say it has a pretty good following. I think they're 5 seasons in already. It's called Orphan Black, which is a BBC America show.
No, but I've heard wonderful things.
Yeah, the star of it, her name is Tatiana Maslany.
Okay.
And on Orphan Black over the 4 or 5 seasons, she has done some nudity, but it's only been her butt. Like, it's weird. Like, maybe it's the BBC's call or hers, but the 4 or 5 times she's been nude, it's only been her butt. Now, don't get me wrong, she has a fantastic butt, and I'm a big fan. But I think their 5th season. I think they're 4 seasons in. I think their 5th season will be out later in 2017. So in the 4 seasons, she has shown her butt a few times, but never her breasts, which was always a bit of a disappointment. Well, she's in this movie called Two Lovers and a Bear. And it's about this couple, and they're living like in the northern Canadian wilderness. I mean, like as far, really up there. So it's
like off the
literally
grid.
Off the grid. They're like in bear country. So, of course, if you're with a dude living up there, what are you going to do? You're going to want to have sex all the time.
All there is to do is fuck or like get firewood, right?
And I got to tell you, and speaking of wood, I got to tell you, this
There's
sex
my
scene.
skin.
Yeah, thank you. This sex scene is so hot. I watched it again this morning, and this is an early front runner for the best sex scene of the year. And I think you'll really love it. Like, you're looking at a picture, but if you watch the video, I think this goes on for like 2 minutes, and great breast shots. And by the way, you could tell it's very chilly up there in the northern Canadian wilderness, as you can see by Tatiana Maslany. But really great sex scene. So it's called Two Lovers and a Bear. And if you're a fan of the girl from Orphan Black, I have great nudes for you. So those are a couple of movie things to check out.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Now, would you consider these nipples qualifiers for the All Nip Squad or the Niptastic Nips, or are they not quite long enough? Let
me tell you, I am working on our Anatomy Awards right now. For the 2016 year, but we're going to release it at the end of February. And the girl, I can't reveal her name, the girl who won most Niptastic Nips, is putting Tatiana Maslany to shame.
Oh, so damn. Okay.
Andrea, it's very stiff competition for best nips. Yes. So, as great as these are, I just don't hand most Niptastic Nips to anyone. Okay. That's very important. But yeah, you really got to have great nips to win that very important award. So, and that's fun. Last week I was, myself, our content department, our editorial staff, we're all in the content room watching. We've been going through all the, this terrible job I have going through, all these nude scenes and trying to figure out which are going to win awards, best breast, best butt, but then all these fun awards that we see. And I say this every year, and I don't know why I don't do it. I need to get a camera back there and just record just us going back and forth on like what to name awards, or like what we think of a nude scene, why we like it, why we don't like it. I really think it would be interesting because it's all of us going, when everyone has their favorites and people going back and forth. But I think that it's really funny how the thought process to come up with an award or what the award name is, because that's one of the fun things about the Anatomy Awards is we're kind of like curators at a museum, right? And there's no way people could even know that 90% of this stuff exists, but we kind of pull it out and say, oh my God, look what happened in this scene. You may or may not know the actress, but you've got to see what happens in the scene, and then we'll come up with some crazy award just so it makes the list. And that's the fun thing about the Anatomy Awards, kind of curating this crazy, wild year in sex and nudity, and be able to present that, which is a ton of fun.
Well, I look forward to that every year. So keep working hard, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll that'll be out. We're going to launch that towards the end of February, and we'll actually do that podcast will be all about the Anatomy Awards when that comes out. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Cool.
So anyway, so now there's also been a bunch of TV stuff that I wanted to get to, and this is a perfect example of why MrSkin.com exists, because Andrea, I know you're very busy. You don't have time to know all the over 100 television shows that feature nudity, and you can't.
But I love it.
I know you love it, but there's no way you even know some of these things are even out.
No.
And one great example. So last week, Amazon released a show called Z: The Beginning of Everything.
Okay.
And it stars Christina Ricci, and she's playing Zelda Fitzgerald, the famous flapper from the 1920s who became the icon of the jazz age. And I got to tell you, man, there's a scene where Christina Ricci, there's a party going on. So imagine there's a ton of guys in tuxedos and some women. Mm-hmm. She leaves the room, strips completely naked. I don't know the context of it because it was one of the episodes I just saw the nude scene, but who cares? She puts on high heels, puts on like a ribbon or a bandana in her hair, and that's it. She opens the door, the sliding doors, and stands there in front of the whole party. And I'm like, holy geez! Now this is an early front runner for best nude scene of 2017, and it's just spectacular stuff. So it's Christina Ricci full frontal in Z, the Beginning of Everything, where she's playing, Zelda Fitzgerald from the Jazz Age. I think this will be the Jizz Age when you're done with this scene, because it's really, really spectacular. So you definitely want to see this.
Well, I love how just open she is too. Her arms are up and spread, and she's like, "Here's my body, look at it." Now, I will tell you, I saw an interview she did maybe a week ago
yes.
on TV. She did say she was wearing a merkin, and
I was just going to get to that.
Okay,
I was just going to get to that.
Wanted to make
now,
sure you knew. Give us the lowdown.
No, we do, and here's the thing. This is kind of the bane of my existence right now. Is when I started MrSkin.com, the big thing was I'd always get is that a body double or is that the actress?
Right.
And it was very, very easy for me, a trained eye in nudity, to know if this was a body double or real. Then there was like fake breasts or real breasts, but that was pretty easy for me to tell.
Yeah.
But then along came CGI nudity, and now all of a sudden they snuck a few nude scenes in that maybe at first we didn't know, but we always eventually found out either through rumor, through people that worked on the set, or just different circumstances. We eventually would know what was CGI and what wasn't. Then along comes merkins, and I got to tell you, I struggle with it. Luckily, a lot of these actresses, like Olivia Wilde, when she did Vinyl, that full frontal scene, she went on a bunch of interviews, said it was like walking around with a furkini, like they'll talk about it. Whereas like Christina Ricci, in a tweet, I think is what I saw, where she said I was wearing 2 wigs during that scene.
That's cute.
It's tough to tell. I mean, especially from you're 20 feet away. If the camera's 20 feet away, it's tough to tell if that's her bush or not. Now, luckily, we're kind of figuring this stuff out, but in my history of being Mr. Skin, this has been the toughest thing to figure out, is when you're wearing a merkin or not wearing a merkin. But I still love the scene, even though it is a merkin,
totally.
because that's her boobs, her butt,
it's
her body,
everything.
whatever.
I'll tell you why the merkin is redeemable, because it's allowing actresses, A-list actresses like Christina Ricci, who might not have ever considered doing a full frontal without a body double or without CGI, to be like, hey, pop a merkin on me and I'll do it. So in that way, it's kind of allowing, and I think we're actually seeing more celebrity nudity because of the merkins. So in that regard, I can find the silver lining.
On one hand, you could say, today's main enemy of jerkin is the merkin. You could say that, but then again, I think you're looking at it from, glass half full.
I try to.
Is these actresses, maybe if they had to have their own, bottom there, that they might say, you know what, I'm going to have to wear panties.
Right,
for that
because,
scene. So,
I've been following me and Christina Ricci. I think she's a couple or a few years older than I am. So, I've always been aware of her career. And I've been, when are you going to get naked? You're in panties, you're in a sheer tank top, you're in this or you're that. I think the merkin and the Olivia Wildes are giving these girls, because it's that quote unquote furkini, they feel like they're not naked. So we're kind of duping them into nudity.
Yeah, well, no, like I said, you're looking at it. That's a great way to look at it, and you're probably right. And for her to be that open and stand there in front of all those guys,
she seems very
do
confident.
This scene, yeah. Either way, this is such a great nude scene. I guarantee you this will make my top 10 nude scenes of the year. And right now, it's my favorite 2017 nude scene so far.
I'm with you. I'm
definitely want to check that out. So the show's called Z, the Beginning of Everything, and
cool.
It's all 10 episodes are out. My guys have gone through everyone. There's other good stuff, but this in particular was one I wanted to point out to you. Another show that wrapped up while we were in Vegas is The Affair. It airs on Sunday nights on Showtime with Dominic West and Ruth Wilson, and they just wrapped up their 3rd season. And it's a show that occasionally comes up with some pretty good nudity. And I got to tell you, the final episode, and there was a storyline in this 3rd season where one of my Mr. Skin Hall of Famers, a French actress named Irene Jacob, who's a MILF now. She's 50 years old. She had an affair with Yeah, she had an affair with Dominic West, and they showed her getting out of bed, and she shows breasts and then showed butt changing, and it was cool. I just love to know that. I just love when someone that did a lot of nudity, let's say 20, 25 years ago, is in my Hall of Fame, then shows up as 50 years old and still looks amazing.
Absolutely.
And beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful too. Not just, you look at that body, you're like, there's no way she's 50, but that's
it's crazy.
I guess that's the French. Yeah.
But it gives me hope as a woman when I see women aging and I see how beautiful they are and I see how great their boobs are and their butt is. It's like it gives me peace as a woman, but it's also really gratifying. Yeah, when you have those favorites from back in the day and then you kind of get this just gratuitous surprise. It's like, hey, here's my boobs again. Here's my butt again. And yeah, she's got a killer rack, killer abs, killer butt, killer thighs. She's got it all going on. All going on.
Yeah, and so I think the affair kind of flies below the radar with all the television shows, but it's been a pretty consistent, good show for sex and nudity. And they've had some really hot sex scenes in there. Ruth Wilson's done some nice stuff, and I'm just I was just happy to see this. I wanted to point out this. The show wrapped up a couple weeks ago, but I didn't want to miss this because we were in Vegas. I wanted to share that with you. So
we appreciate
it.
So
give you an idea of some of the TV nudity, and then. Last but not least, for this week's podcast, I wanted to talk a little about a show. Now, you do know that Girls will, their final season is going to debut Sunday night, the 12th, on HBO. So their sixth and final season is going to air. And
I did not realize it was the last one. So thanks for the heads up.
And I already heard through, where did I just hear? We just got. Actually, literally an hour before we started taping, I heard that both Jemima Kirk and Lena Dunham will be full frontal this Sunday night, and Allison Williams will be naked also, which I'm very anxious to see, but I'm not sure of how graphic her stuff is going to be. But supposedly Jemima Kirk, well, Lena Dunham doesn't surprise me at all, but Jemima Kirk full frontal will be awesome. So anyway, but I wanted to point out there was a really cool Hollywood Reporter did an article leading up to this sixth and final season debut on HBO, and they interviewed Judd Apatow, the producer, and Lena Dunham, the creator of the show, about how they were interviewing him about the history of the show, and they got into a thing about a very graphic moment in Girls and how. They found what they said in the thing is what was interesting is they finally found where HBO's line was where they wouldn't go, and they talked about Lena Dunham wanted to show early in I think it was in the second season, she wanted to show cum like a cum shot, but show it like going through the air. And HBO said, no, we're going to lose our license. That's not going to happen.
Come on.
And they went back
fluid?
well, it's, it's different when it's active versus
inactive.
Just inactive. I don't know what yeah. So anyway, they talked about it, and it was really interesting to see the back and forth on this. And they finally backed down. Lena Dunham and Judd Apatow backed down, but they were able to, and I'm pretty sure this was in the second season. The compromise was there was a really, and you got to watch this if you have a chance. There was a sex scene in the second season with Adam Driver after he had broke up with Lena Dunham. He hooked up with Shiri Appleby, who you might know. She played Liz on Roswell from 99 to 02. So she was like a kind of a younger star, and now she's been bouncing around doing different shows. But she was always really hot, and this sex scene is. Typical Girls graphic, push the envelope stuff. And then, so he's banging her from behind. Well, first he pulls her panties down. She's in doggy style position. He goes down and is eating her out from behind. And she's like, hey dude, I didn't have a chance to shower today. And he's like, I don't care. It's awesome. So then he starts banging her from behind. And then he's about to come. He flips her over and jerks off on her breasts. And they ended up showing it on HBO on Girls. And I commented at the time, that's very, very rare in R-rated movies or on mainstream television. even HBO, to show jizz. You just don't see it.
I don't.
And that's another.
I can't even recall any jizz reference except for like there's something about Mary and she had jizz in her hair. Like
like comedic effect, or like Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
The guy jerked off and threw it at Jodie Foster. But
so how they went around it was they said we're not going to shoot the load shooting. We're going to shoot the load having landed, and it's going to be a glorious pearl necklace.
Yeah, like, so in other words, if active jizz was not acceptable, but if it's like pooled on her chest, and Lena Dunham said that they used conditioner and Cetaphil.
That's what they use in porn too. Cool.
How cool was that? And anyway, if you go back and people, I get this a lot. Like, I'll do radio shows and guys will want to be like making fun of Lena Dunham and her nude scenes and stuff. And I always say, listen,
she's got courage. Who cares?
Listen, my thing is, make fun of her all you want if that's how you want to be, but give her credit for the jizz scene with Shiri Appleby, the ass munch scene with Allison Williams. I mean, that's stuff that's really groundbreaking, great stuff. And
it's probably something these girls, these actresses would not have done had it not been Lena Dunham's idea. Like, had a dude told them, hey, you're going to get a load on your chest, or you're going to get your ass eaten out from the back, and you have to say you're dirty, they would have been like, no, that's a little misogynistic. You know what I mean? She is breaking barriers. She has no shame herself. She can laugh at herself. She's a wonderful person, and she's doing really creative, beautiful work. So I'm with you, Skin, all the way, baby.
No, I'm a fan, man. I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen in their final season, see how far they can take it. And we already know Lena Dunham will be naked. Again, Jemima Kirk and possibly some Allison Williams in the first episode. So looking forward to that. And of course, we'll cover that next week in our podcast. The morning after, we should have a ton of good Sunday night. It's going to get going again with Girls starting up and all the other shows that we should start seeing in the coming weeks and months. So we'll have a lot of nudity to cover, but I'm just glad to have gotten back. Vegas was fun, but I like being here at my Mr. Skin offices and updating you on all the nudity, because there's so much on a weekly basis.
Oh, and this is what I live for too. Yeah, it's fun to travel and see interesting people, but this is what it's about. So I love you, Mr. Skin. This was very informative. And everyone, MrSkinPodcast.com. If you have any questions for Mr. Skin, go ahead and give him a tweet at Mr. Skin, and we'll see you guys next week.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.